Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Atlanta, Falcons fans. Let's get to the news now, folks, buckle up because the NFL offseason just threw a major curveball that could reshape the Atlanta Falcons roster and their entire strategy moving forward. And no, I'm not talking about some minor signing or a draft pick. This is about a blockbuster trade that could send shockwaves through the NFC South and set the Falcons up for a serious playoff push in 2025. It's all about the latest buzz surrounding the potential move for Cleveland Browns tight end David Njoku and how this could be a game-changer for Atlanta's offense. So, let's dive deep into what this means for the Falcons, the current state of their roster, and how they're positioning themselves for a serious run in the upcoming season. First, let's talk about the context. The Falcons, as many of you already know, have been on an ascending trajectory lately. With the emergence of Michael Penix Jr. at quarterback, there's a real sense that Atlanta might finally be turning the corner into legitimate playoff contention. Penix's development has been impressive, and if he continues to grow, the Falcons could become one of the most dangerous teams in the NFC. We've seen flashes of brilliance from Penix, and with the right supporting cast, he could become a franchise quarterback in the mold of some of the league's top signal callers. The Falcons already have some talented weapons. Bijan Robinson, who's shown he's a game-changer out of the backfield, Drake London, a strong possession receiver, and Darnell Mooney, who's proven to be a reliable deep threat. But one position that's been a bit of a question mark, despite the presence of Kyle Pitts, is tight end. Kyle Pitts, for all his hype and potential, just hasn't quite lived up to expectations. Drafted 4th overall in 2021, he was billed as the next great tight end, possibly even a transcendent player who would redefine the position. And let's be honest, he's had flashes. He's a matchup nightmare when used correctly, with that rare combination of size, speed, and agility. But the problem is, consistency has been elusive. Since his rookie season, Pitts hasn't really put up the numbers that match his draft status. He's never caught more than 55 passes or gone over 700 yards receiving in a season, and even with the extra games in 2023 and 2024, the production just isn't there. It's frustrating, especially because the Falcons have tried to maximize his talents, but it just hasn't clicked. And here's where it gets really interesting. The Falcons are in a unique position. They're a playoff-caliber team, but if they're going to seriously contend, they need to improve at tight end. And that's where the rumors of a potential trade come into play. If the reports are correct, the Falcons are eyeing Cleveland Browns tight end David Njoku. Now, why Njoku? Well, for starters, he's a player who's been quite productive when healthy, and he's only 28 years old. More importantly, he's entering the final year of his contract and is set to be a free agent in 2026. That means the Browns might be motivated to move him now, especially considering their current organizational turmoil. The Browns, for their part, are in a bit of a mess. They just invested a third-round pick in Harold Fannin Jr., a promising young tight end who many scouts see as a future star. Fannin's talent evaluation shows he's a versatile matchup nightmare. He's an underrated blocker, an exceptional route runner, and has impressive yards after catch ability. With Cleveland investing significant draft capital in Fannin, it makes sense from their perspective to consider moving Njoku, especially since they're still several years away from contending for championships. The team is in the midst of a rebuild, and stockpiling young talent seems to be their priority. Plus, extending Njoku at this stage would be risky, given Fannin's potential and the team's timeline. Moving Njoku would free up cap space and roster spots, and potentially bring in a player who fits better into their long-term plans. Now, why does this make perfect sense for the Falcons? Well, for starters, the Falcons are a team that's already built to contend. Their offense is promising, but they're missing that final piece, a reliable, dynamic tight end who can be a focal point in the passing game. Njoku fits that bill perfectly. He's a proven weapon in the NFL, capable of stretching the field and creating mismatches, much like Pitts was supposed to do but hasn't quite managed yet. Acquiring Njoku would give the Falcons a true tight end one, a player who can be a safety valve for Penix and a red zone threat. It's about adding that missing piece that elevates the entire offense. And it's not just about adding a talented player, it's about strategic roster management. Kyle Pitts, while still young at 28, hasn't shown the consistency or production needed to justify a long-term commitment, especially with a promising young rookie like Fannin knocking on the door. Moving Pitts to make room for Njoku isn't a slight on Pitts, far from it. It's about recognizing that the Falcons need a tight end who's ready to contribute immediately and can be a centerpiece of their offense. Fannin's development could be accelerated in Cleveland, where he'd get more opportunities early on, and the Falcons would gain a proven veteran who can step in and make an immediate impact. But let's also consider the bigger picture. The Falcons are in a division that's only getting tougher. The NFC South has teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are always competitive, and the New Orleans Saints, who have been building a solid roster. The Carolina Panthers are also on the rise, thanks to their recent draft picks and offseason acquisitions. So, every move the Falcons make needs to be strategic, aiming to put them ahead of their rivals. Adding Njoku would give them a significant advantage in tight end play, a position that can often be the difference maker in close games and playoff battles. Now, if this trade goes through, it could also influence how the Falcons approach their draft and free agency in the coming months. They might look to focus on strengthening their offensive line or adding more weaponry for Penix, but the tight end position would be a priority. Having Njoku as part of the mix, alongside the developing talents like Drake London and Darnell Mooney, and the dynamic running game with Bijan Robinson, could turn the Falcons into one of the most explosive offenses in the league. And remember, the NFL is all about matchups and versatility. Njoku's ability to line up in different spots, block when needed, and create big plays in the passing game makes him a perfect fit for the Falcons' scheme. Of course, all of this hinges on the Browns' willingness to trade Njoku and on the Falcons' ability to strike a deal that works for both sides. It's a fascinating scenario that's gaining momentum, and I believe it could happen sooner rather than later. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and this trade could be one of the most impactful for the Falcons in recent years. It's a move that could elevate their offense, add veteran stability, and push them closer to that elusive Super Bowl they've been chasing for so long. So, Falcons fans, keep an eye on this story. It's exactly the kind of move that could define the franchise's direction for the next few seasons. The potential to add a proven NFL weapon like Njoku, especially at a time when the team is poised to take a step forward, is incredibly exciting. And let's not forget, the NFL is a league where one move can change everything. A trade for Njoku might just be the catalyst that propels the Falcons into serious title contention. Pause here, just for a second. If you want the YOUTUB algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe a trade for David Njoku will happen? Would you be happy to see Kyle Pitts move on in exchange for a proven veteran like Njoku? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Falcons. We want to know, are you excited about this potential move? Do you think it's the missing piece that could finally push Atlanta over the edge? Remember, the offseason is where teams make their biggest moves, and this one could be a game changer. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news. We're in an exciting era for this team, and I can't wait to see how everything unfolds. Thanks for sticking with us, and as always, go Falcons.